like I was saying, I'm gonna go over top 5 decks that I think are going to impact the meta severely and critically post Shadow Wise. Now, for my number 5 pick, we are going to go for Labyrinth. If it ever pops up here. And did I spell it wrong? Yeah, so all right, perfect. So Labyrinth is a control strategy slash I think combo. I mean, no, not really combo. More control than combo for sure. Not really mid-range in my opinion. I've never played the deck. I've never piloted it, but I've played against it enough times to know how crazy the strategy could be at full power, which it will be post Shadow Eyes. And I believe that this deck is going to catch a lot of people off guard because not a lot of people are, or at least from the chats that I'm seeing, a lot of people are talking about it. But Labyrinth is one of those decks that, from experience, will just mess you up if you make a mistake going first or even second. And I think this is one of those sleeper strategies that I think will slowly consume the meta once the meta is solved. The box hasn't dropped yet, but I think it's going to be a deck worth looking into if you've invested heavily into Red Supernova, which a lot of Stardust players have. So assumingly there will be a lot of former Stardust players either on this deck, Labyrinth, or like maybe Centurion or Sprite, given what other cards will be released in the format, i.e. selection boxes, if there will be any new cards in the selection box, or if there will be a new selection box, period. Bringing more staples or extra deck monsters. But I think Labyrinth will be one of those control strategies that will take a lot of people off guard. Coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, I have, let's see, Valmonica. So Valmonica in Duel Links is an exceptionally great strategy. I never played against it or played it in the TCG, but I remember seeing these cards released. And playing against it in Duel Links is, it's one of those interactions where I kind of don't know what's going on until like they make their inboard. And going first and second against it is probably one of the more like overwhelming experiences, because from what I've heard, unless you have Droll, then like you kind of lose. They have a counter trap that they can search. They have banishment access, great consistency. They can summon monsters from their deck using cards. I believe it's Inventeer. Yeah. Or is it? Yeah, you can tell I have very little experience with this deck, but it's super explosive. It has a draw too as well. I think it's this one. Is it? Yeah, special summon 1 Valmonica from your deck, and you're locked into Valmonica, which is irrelevant. But playing against this deck is insane. Like, just to watch it combo, and of course not knowing what to do against it previously, again, can be overwhelming. But I've heard Droll is really good against this deck, and it's very popular in the meta right now, and I'm going to assume that it's going to continue to be pretty relevant given the contents of what we have for the Shadow Eyes box. I'm not sure, maybe for the next few days up until August, maybe mid-August, once the format is solved, Droll will continue to see play as long as Valmonica and the next deck we're going to discuss is popular. Valmonica is a tried and true strategy in Duel Links to play and pilot if you have experience playing it. Didn't see much TCG play when it was released, and I think it was overshadowed by other strategies. As you can see, it was released in 2024, I think, like post Phantom Nightmare, which was Snake Eyes format, which, spoiler, that deck is also on our list here. And I will be playing that deck. I love Snake Eyes. I've played it in real life in 2024. But not to digress here, Valmonica is a tried and true strategy that I feel like if you know how to play it, then you have it's a good investment to not only have, but to compete and climb up the ladder to King of Games. Tried and true. So, coming in at number 3, we're gonna go for Destiny Hero. So, Destiny Heroes, from a TCG perspective, I haven't played against a pure Destiny Hero deck in real life, but of course on Duel Links, I have, and it's a powerful strategy. It's still a powerful strategy now, even post banlist. And I think it's going to be one of the more popular decks going into next format. People will still be on Destiny Heroes. It's still on there now, even before the Shadow Eyes box. But I think because of what's coming in the Shadow Eyes box will probably deter people from playing Droll, but not until a few weeks from now. I think people are still going to be on Droll and Lockbird, at least for the remainder of the July season. People will still be on Droll, but I also believe that because Destiny Hero is still a relevant deck, I'm going to predict that Nibiru will be seeing a lot more play to respect the Destiny Hero strategy, which will also give some leeway for decks like Labyrinth to exist because they don't care about Nibiru. They're a control strategy primarily. But Destiny Hero, again, just like Valmonica, is a tried and true strategy where, like, if you know how to play the deck very well, you'll be rewarded for it. And it's again, super powerful strategy, very consistent, breaks boards very easily just by playing its engine, and sets up a very powerful inboard going first with its Plasma, Destiny Hero Plasma Floodgate, and let's see, is Plasma here somewhere? Yes, with Plasma and DD. But yeah, this deck is still going hard, and I think it'll still be a viable, formidable strategy going into Shadow Eyes format post-balance. Let's see. Coming in at number 2, I will say I'm gonna have to respect this deck. Branded post Shadow Eyes gets access to Blazing Cartesia, the Bestial engine, and I think a few other cards, right? Let's see, let's verify. Branded gets access to, yes, Blazing Cartesia and Granganol. And what else here? What else do they have? Like, they get a lot more support. You know, Bestials, yes. Saronir is also unlimited, so they'll for sure be playing this card. But I believe this deck is future-proof, man. Branded will continue to get more support, like, as long as they continue getting support IRL and TCG. But I've never piloted Branded, but I've played against it enough to know how resilient the strategy is, and I believe it'll, like, the strategy, or the Branded strategy in Duel Links rather, will reflect Branded's IRL tenacity. as time goes on. But I believe the strategy will see a resurgence. Yes, it gets branded lost. No, that's not the continuous spell, but it gets regained and banishment. Thankfully, branded doesn't have like the the branded expulsion trap and the like sanctifier dragon. They don't have access to it now, but they will one day, for sure. If they're releasing cards like this and again the bestial engine, this deck is future proof and will see success, and it'll be super popular post Shadow Wise on the ladder in tournaments, and in Worlds. I think Worlds is coming up. I'm not sure if this box will be legal for Worlds. It should be, but yeah, expect to see a lot of branded, and yeah, like I think that branded only gets better with time. Even without their dedicated skill, a lot of people have been using skills like Precious Cards of the Dark to accrue card advantage and to maintain the resilience against the meta. And I think that'll persist post Shadow Wise. So that's our number 2 pick. Now, coming in at number 1, my personal favorite, and something, or a strategy rather, I believe will go rampant if it's not respected in Duel Links. I doubt that'll be the case because people will respect it. Snake Eye is my number 1 pick for Shadow Eyes format. I have personal experience with this deck. I've played it in real life in 2024 when it was released. I brought into the Diabell Star package and Age of Overlord in like the 4th quarter of 2023, and I think that this deck will be tier 1 in Duel Links. I could be wrong because we're limited to the amount of zones that we have in Duel Links, but Snake Eye is one of the most resilient strategies and the most explosive strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, next to tier, or Tierman, if you're not familiar with the layman. Speaking of tier, they skipped that whole Visas lore and went straight to Diabell Star. Maybe this is like Konami's way of like redoing the past and how they released decks, or perhaps just skipping Visas entirely. Because I mean, like, it's not like Snake Eye's power level is any different or slightly different than tier. Tier was more like RNG playstyle and having cards like Tearlament's Havinous activating the hand, like in engine going second cards, which I've noticed right now the only relevant deck that has access to an in archetype going second card is Labyrinth, and they only get better. Labyrinth, but Labyrinth will take a lot of people off guard, and I feel like Snake Eye will also take a lot of people off guard if it's not properly respected. So I expect to see a lot of Snake Eye. I expect to see a lot of branded strategies from before, like Destiny Hero and Valmonica. Maybe some Centurion, honorable mention to Centurion and Blackwing and Infernity. That's expected to see somewhat of a lot of play. I'm expecting to see a lot of them on the ladder as well. But these are my top 5 picks for the Shadow Eyes format. Let me know in the comments what you think. Again, this is Doc Jones. If you're new here, also, that's my name, Doc Jones. I stream Duel Links. I overanalyze everything. I roast my own gameplay, and I compare this game to wrestling because that somehow makes perfect sense to me. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.